Hi everybody, I'm home. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I got up Saturday morning and it was kind of dreary and rainy, and I decided that it was a good opportunity to kind of reset, refresh my spirit, if you will. I had been really busy the week before and I was tired, and there were a lot of little projects I wanted to get done. There was some cleaning, rearranging, laundry, all that fun stuff. My husband was just going to take it easy, and I told him to just relax in the recliner and watch these ball games, and I was going to putter around the house, and that's what I did. I got a lot of things done and did a lot of little projects, but the reason I needed that little respite was because we had taken off on Friday and went down 41 here in Indiana to the Parke County Covered Bridge Festival that started Friday. We drove down. The weather was beautiful. We couldn't have asked for a prettier day. The weather was beautiful. The sun came out. It got a little dreary a few times, but the weather was cool. It wasn't real hot. And we enjoyed the day so much. Our anniversary is this week, so we've always gone to the Covered Bridge Festival for our anniversary. We actually went there on our honeymoon. We went on a honeymoon, and on the last day of it, we came back to the Covered Bridge Festival because we'd always liked it. We started out at Bridgeton, Indiana, and they have a beautiful mill, and you could smell the elephant ears and the food, and it was just so much fun. This is the bridge going across into Bridgeton. And a few years back, it was burned by vandals, and they had to rebuild it. And they did a beautiful job. It still looks old and rustic, and it kind of reminds me, well, it does remind me a lot of one of my favorite movies, The Bridges of Madison County. Of course, that movie was based in Iowa, but they could have definitely made that movie right there in Parke County. I think they have 31 covered bridges. This is a yard sale that we always stop at on our way down. This man and his wife, they have a big barn and a garage and a whole parking lot full of all kinds of antiques and odd things, just a little bit of everything. They have a lot of pumpkins this year. They never had pumpkins before. And my husband and I like to just go visit with him and his wife and check out what he's got. That's the sale that I actually got my little dollhouse from that was painted royal blue. And he had a lot of antique books this time. And of course, I had to pick up a couple of books, especially that orange one right there. I grabbed it. And he had some vintage books and a lot of lamps and a lot of glassware. And these are some more books, George Washington book and Christopher Columbus. And I almost picked those up, but I didn't. And then there's a lot of ball jars and license plates. And he just had a little bit of everything. You never know what they're going to have. They have everything displayed really well. There's some Christmas stuff. They have this huge barn, and all the way down the middle is a table. I'd say it's probably 30, 40 feet long. And they have mirrors on it, and all their glassware is on those mirrors, and it's just gorgeous. I didn't buy anything. Well, actually, I did. I'll show it to you a little bit later what I bought. But they had such pretty things. They have plates. They have old cars. They have ornaments. It was just a lot of fun. There's some Halloween stuff they had on display in fall decor. And this is another rummage sale we always stop at. And the ladies that run this one are so nice. And they heard me saying that I had a dollhouse, so they were putting things in my purse, little rugs and little miniature things, and I tried to pay them, and they said, nope, these belong with you. You're the only one that came along that has a dollhouse, and they belong with you. So they gave them to me, and I said, well, I want to pay you, and they said, we're not here to make money, we're here to make friends. And I visited with them quite a while. I bought some real bittersweet from them. And then we went on into Bridgeton, and this is after we went across the bridge, this is the mill where I used to buy my dad apple butter and pork rinds, I think it was. It was kind of bittersweet seeing that place. And of course, they have all kinds of food. You can't escape the food down there. That's basically what we go for. The festival used to be a lot better than it is now, but we still found some good stuff. This is the little visitor center in Rockville. I believe Rockville was the starting point for the festival many, many years ago. This was a little fall display that they had, and we parked there and checked it out and went across the street for a little bit. You could only park for about 30 minutes. Then this is a corner across from the courthouse in Rockville. Somebody had this in their yard, and that's the corner I drop my husband off at every year to get his kettle corn. He has to stand in a long line right there at the corner of the courthouse square, so I go around the block 2 or 3 times until he's done and pick him up. And that's just a display that someone had out in their yard. I thought was really pretty. I love old trucks. And across the street at the church, they had all these pumpkins and gourds and a few mums to sell. It's just a beautiful, if you don't buy a thing, you just walk around and look at all the scenery. This was a little house we saw. The house in the garage down the street from the courthouse has this all on the gables, and I thought it was just absolutely beautiful. There's a lot of really pretty homes and architecture in Rockville. And this was a little building. I don't know if it was a she shed or a playhouse or a potting shed, but it was really cute. And this was my one purchase for the day. I got at that big barn. It was a whole $1. And I thought it was Flow Blue, but I've decided it's just a cobalt blue pitcher. But it's very old, and I just love it. It pairs really well with all of my Flow Blue. It's actually cobalt, and I don't see a lot of white where the Flow Blue flowed into the white, but I loved it nonetheless. I thought it was just so pretty. So that was my one purchase for the day, and thinking about all my Flow Blue back home that it would look pretty with. One of our teachers at school, she ended up being a client of mine in the beauty shop, Mrs. Mocklet. She was a sweet lady, and she had, the first time I went to her house, I saw this beautiful Flow Blue that she had, and she said she bought it back when her and her husband went to auctions and they could buy it reasonably, but by the time I started liking it and knowing what it was so costly you couldn't afford it. So she gave me this platter for a wedding present, and this platter's been used many times at my house, but it mostly sits up on a shelf. And through the years, through the grace of thrifting, I was able to collect several pieces of Flow Blue, and now I have a nice little collection of my own, and I think Mrs. Mocklet would be really proud of my collection. There's a little saucer without a cup that I got the other day in the free bin, and I tucked it behind the lamp in my kitchen window so that I could look at it all day. I just love it, and that picture, it's sitting on my kitchen counter, but I'm going to put it with all my Flow Blue stuff. It looks so cute sitting there. I guess it does have a little white in it. And then in the free bin one day, I found this little cobalt blue oil lamp that looks really pretty in my Flow Blue collection. And that little bowl, it's not Flow Blue, but it's really pretty. And then I did pick up the orange book and a green book that it was kind of tiny, and it was called Rumford Complete Cookbook. And it's got some cool recipes in it. But look at that embossing on the front of this book. It's a horse, and it's just beautiful. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, but not too much because I like them looking old. And I've got them sitting on my counter right now, but they'll go in my cabinet with all my other old cookbooks. And then I just took the rainy day and cooked and did a little cleaning and just really refreshed myself. Sometimes I just run and do so much that I have to stay home and have a day of just puttering around and getting some things done. I dusted some shelves and rearranged some things and cleaned off all my dishes. Sometimes I got to do that. And I jumped on the bandwagon and finally started drying out some hydrangeas. I got them at my bank, and I got some from a friend, and I love them because all you have to do is just put them in a basket and they dry out themselves and they don't fall apart, and you don't have to put them in water. And I finally found one of these little butter keepers, and I keep my herbed butter in that next to my stove, and I just love it. It keeps it at just the perfect temperature. And then my little doll bed that I was going to make the quilt for, and I didn't like the way the quilt was turning out. And then I had found a quilted pillow sham in my stash that had roses on it, which I'm all about roses, but I thought this little primitive bed needed something more primitive than this. This looked more shabby chic or Victorian. So I ended up putting this on, and I think it's just a placemat. It's older, and it's got a scalloped edge, and it's got some embroidery on it, and it fits that little bed just perfect. I'm going to sell it because I have 2 or 3 little doll beds with little quilts and pillows and mattresses, and I don't need that many. So I think some little girl's going to love this, or some lady can display it in her house. I think it's going to be perfect. The little bed's black, and the little comforter's so cute. And then I've been doing some primitive stitching, and I found these towels at TJ Maxx the other day, and I just loved the color of the pumpkins. They're so vibrant and orange. I don't want to use them, but I probably will by Thanksgiving. But I take little loops and buttons and hang my towels up in my kitchen, because here I put a little loop on the new pumpkin towel, because they fall off of everything. If you hang them over your stove handle, they fall off. You hang them or lay them on the counter, they fall off. So I hang them on hooks. Now this one I probably won't use for a while. And then I'm like Minnie Pearl with my tags. I make a lot of tags, because when I sell something online or in person out in my shop, I like to have a nice tag on the item so that they can see the price. And then when I package things up to mail them out to people, I like for it to be presented with a nice tag. And these tags I made with an old recipe book that was absolutely falling apart. I only picked it up and got it because of the recipes and the antiqueness of the book. And so I made a lot of tags with these, and I add them to gifts that I make, pies or cookies or bread or whatever. And then I just hang them on a hook in the end of my kitchen, and then I make tags for all my things that I sell. And I like to be busy, so if I'm watching TV, I got to be doing something. And I just love this tag with the lady talking on a telephone that's actually on a telephone pole. And then, of course, just my regular recipe tags. And then seasonal tags I put on certain items. I just love my tags. And here's after I antiqued and grunged up my stitching that I had done for some primitive projects. They're drying on top of the washer. And then I found my little pumpkin guy laying on his side, and I thought, what the heck? And then I remembered that my nephew, Brad, was at my house last Saturday. And he likes to go around my house when I'm not looking and tip things over, turn pictures upside down, turn candles upside down and stuff like that. So he thought he really got me. I've done it to him. And then I found at the thrift store one day these silver, heavy, colonial type spoons. I found 4 spoons and 4 forks. And they reminded me so much of the colonial silverware that I saw when I went to Williamsburg, Virginia. We went to all the old homes and did tours, and a lot of them had their tables set with this kind of silverware, and they're real heavy. So I got them at the thrift store, and they just reminded me so much of my trip. That trip stayed with me for the longest time. And do I have too many pieces of silverware? Probably. But you know what? I cook a lot, and I like to have my spoons handy. And so I've got spooners sitting all over my counter with different size spoons, and I use every one of them all the time. Every day I'm reaching for a spoon. And I found this in that tarnished basket when I went with my friend to the thrift store the other day, and it was gold. And I never bought a big gold spoon before. It's pretty much like the silver one that I bought. And I love the embossing on it. And I'm not going to clean it up. I like it. I won't use it for food, but I love it. And here it is with a little footed colonial type pitcher, and it's full of silverware too. I pick up pretty silverware when I find it because, like I said, I use it. And somehow the forks disappear around here. And then I like to look at my stuff. I've told you that before. And there's my little saucer, my Flow Blue saucer behind my lamp in the kitchen window. And so I tuck that little gold spoon into my little floral arrangement there, and I can see it all day while I'm washing dishes and doing things in my kitchen, and that's how I like it. So I've been picking these up. They're called Heritage Hall Transferware, and they're beautiful for the fall. I got 4 salad plates, 4 bowls, and 2 cups and saucers, and a sugar bowl on this last trip. I have a couple of other plates put away, and I think I'm going to use these for Thanksgiving this year. And the great thing about thrifting is and having thrifting friends is I can shoot a picture of this and send it to my friend Sherry, and by the end of the month, I'll have another dinner plate. And by the end of the year, I'll have 5 or 6 new pieces. It's fun. I don't need the cups and saucers. That's the inside of the cups. I think they're beautiful with that little detail. But Sherry will find me some pieces. I'll find some more, and I'll just keep adding to it. But until then, I got out there's the sugar bowl. It's really pretty. And I'll find the little creamer that goes with it. I'm not the least bit concerned about not having a full set because I get complete joy out of these. But I have a set of cream-colored plates that are newer. I probably thrifted those too. I don't know where I got them at. But I will set the salad plates on those off-white plates and use those for dinner. And they'll look just fine until I get all my dinner plates. And I'll get them. There's the plates. And they have a little design around the outside. And if my voice is quivering a little bit, it's because it's cold. It turned cold on us like in one day. And I haven't warmed up yet today. And there's the salad plates. And I think they look lovely with those white plates. And then I'll use my spoons and forks of my colonial silverware that I got at the thrift store. And I'll use a different kind of knife with them. I don't care about mixing and matching. My whole place is mixed and matched. But this is really reminiscent of our trip to Colonial Williamsburg. And then there's those little berry bowls that I showed you a couple videos back. They're very old and they have pretty much the same colors in them and a little bit of the same pattern. Now these glasses I also thrifted the other day. I got 6 of them, and I already had 6 of these glasses that were my grandmother's. She used them for Christmas and Easter and all the important holidays and birthdays and such. And when I saw these, I bought them instantly. They were 50 cents a piece, and now I have a set of 12. And I use them on holidays too, but I'm going to take 4 and put them up in the cabinet and use them for everyday dishes because I love them so much. And now that I have so many, I'm just going to use them. And then I'll put them on the table for holidays just like Grandma did and like I've always done. But I'm so tickled to have 12 of them now because before I only had 6 and I was always worried I was going to break one and only have 5 and then probably break a couple more and not have any before it was over with. So I was tickled to death to get these. And speaking of George Washington, I found this plate at the Goodwill, and it's George Washington speaking to Lafayette on the back of the home that he lived in at Mount Vernon, and I just love it. It kind of looks like Flow Blue, but it's not. It's just blue transferware, but I love it. And then this picture I got last summer, and I think I gave $1 for it at the Mission, and I thought it was the ugliest color I had ever seen until fall rolls around, and then it became beautiful to me. I love it, and I'm going to set it on the table and put some kind of flowers in it, probably some dried flowers out of my garden. And I want to invite you guys all to follow me on Instagram at MarcyJo631. If you would like to, you can leave and questions there. I've been getting questions from people all over the world, and I love answering your questions, and I love for you to leave comments. And then I'd like to also ask you to join me on Facebook. It's called I'm Home on Facebook, but there's a lot of different I'm Home, so you got to look for the apple picture with my apple cookbook and my stand with apples on it. And then remember our thrift for you, where I was going to buy a thrifted item for 2 people who left me comments of what they collected. Well, I've got my first package ready to go out. I think I'm going to deliver it tomorrow, and I'll show you what it looks like next week. And then I've got another one coming up. So if you like my video, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel, and I'll be around for a long time if I get enough subscribers. And I want to tell you guys that I really appreciate everything that you've done for me, and I want you to have a wonderful day, and I hope this inspires you to go out and do something fun.